So you make an in-place mass, and then you create reference planes. And you give each reference plane a name, because that means if you want to model something, you don't see them in this view, but if I go and say set, and I pick reference plane 1, you'll see now if I say show, that reference plane will be visible. Okay. Now, ground floor, I want to go to this elevation marker. Okay, so now I have to model something. Now this is the problem if you're modeling in place. You can't just jump to an elevation and go, like you could if you're using a family. So I'm just going to model something very quickly on that, and then create a basic form, and then come back and then set up my views quickly. Okay. Then I'll quickly jump through how I started this thing again, because I didn't record the beginning. Okay, now I'm going to go to 3D view again. All that you're going to do now is, because it's quite organic, you use a spline, and you're going to say snapping in 3D, and make sure that you use this follow surface. Okay, why is the 3D snapping not enabled here? I'm going to use a reference plane for this. A 3D snapping, this is important. 3D snapping, spline. Okay, so when you create this, you'll see now it'll start creating this organic shape. I just have to create this very quickly. No, I worked with the wrong plane, sorry. I want to use plane 1, 3D snapping, and I want this to work off here. You must just say draw on plane. Draw on plane and 3D snapping. Reference, yeah. Yeah, that's working. Okay, I just have to do this very quickly. Okay, you can see it's drawn on that face. Now if I select this and I just say create mass, you'll see it'll extrude a form for me. Okay, right, I'm just going to finish this quickly. But what's cool about this form, guess what? I can go to architecture, I can go to wall. This is very cool. I'm going to go to wall, I'm going to go and say by face. Okay, but I'm just going to leave this there. I need to fix your views, otherwise this won't work correctly. So this view needs to be in the right location. So select this guy. See, otherwise, yeah, see that has to be to see what I'm doing. Okay. Now if I go to this elevation now, so let's just delete that wall. Because now I need to make that very organic shape. So I'm going to go and say edit mass, edit in place. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to keep the reference plane in place. Now I need to go to my north view. Shucks, what view was it again? North, I think. No, it was east. It was open. It was south. Yeah, south. Okay. Now I'm going to delete this. I'm going to get rid of this reference line. Okay. Now I'm going to go and say create this pick plane. I want reference plane 1 first. Okay. Now I'm going to start creating. You can go and add these. So now you can start getting these curves. Okay, once I create it, move these points, so select these points and start getting the curve a bit better to work in line with what you're trying to do. You see here, you want to try and get these things to work well. So here, go and move your curve so that these things start working. Okay, so you can maybe start that up like that, so it'll start doing that. Okay, I didn't make this a reference line now. Damn it. Reference line, sorry about that. Here, make sure that you're working on the plane again. It has to be a reference, it can't be a line. It has to be a reference. Okay. And I'm going to use this one rather, because that one gives me better control. Because this uses these control points, which I think is a better type of spline. Okay, but now I'm working in the wrong elevation, I think. Now why did this change? Sorry. Ground floor, let me just make sure it's the right elevation. Yeah, this is the only catch though. You must remember what elevation you're working in. It is south, hey, yeah. South. Set the work plane because that got unset, so reference plane 1. Say show work plane so you know where you're working. Go to this guy. Go to this guy over here. Make sure it's reference plane 1. Good. Okay, now that's better. Better. And again, I've used the wrong one again. Oh, it has to be this one because it doesn't give me the nodes. So, okay. Good. Yeah, just try to get this as fine as you can. I'm just going to do this quickly because we are running out of time. Just want to make sure that we get this. Okay, so let's just add one more node here and pull this down to here. Bang. Okay, so that's my first one. Now I'm going to go and say I'm going to create another one now, reference plane. But now I'm going to pick plane 2 because that's way in the distance. So here you can, but now you must try and get these points to match each other, but you can make it slightly bigger, smaller. Okay. So here you're going to go and make sure that you achieve the same amount of points. You can modify these points once you're done, but here at least, but this is critical. You need to match the vertices with each other. Here I could stop that there. Okay, now I'm going to create one more. Okay, now I'm going to go and say reference line. Yes, and now it's going to be on 3. Again, match these points. So this one can be slightly bigger. Don't worry if they're not visible, they'll be visible soon. Maybe in the middle here somewhere. This can come down a bit. This can flow down a bit. This can come down a bit. Okay, good. Enter. Okay, now in 3D view. Okay, those reference planes. If you move those reference planes on plan now, they will change. So let me just go and change that. So if I move these reference planes, you see that everything moves with it. That's why I use reference planes. Now, in 3D view, watch what happens when I select all of these guys together and I use this mass tool. Okay, it should have. Just do that again. Select that one. Maybe I'm going to just use 2 for this exercise. But it should have, it would use all 3. No, man. I'll just change my plane again. Set to ground. Set to ground. I'll just use these 2 here. It should do what I'm telling it to do. Okay, now select that one. So let's tab. So tab. That one and that one. Oh, that's strange. It should have made this thing. Just like this would have. So let's go control. That's strange. It should have create form. Okay, it's making these 2, but it won't create those 2. Very strange. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this one for now. Because this one, if you go and change these points now, if you change these points, you can see that the shape will start. So I'll use reference plane 1 and 2 for this. Okay. But it should have made that other, it should have done exactly the same with the other one as well. That is actually strange that it hasn't done that. Anyway, we can use these 2 in this instance. Drag these points, adjust them, so the whole time you can adjust the way this works and looks. And you can see when you select these points, if you select these points over here, these nodes, you can move them the whole time and adjust the surface for you. And you can see it's very organic. Okay, So I'm just going to go to ground floor very quickly. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to pull this out to the front of my building. I'll get rid of this one over here. Okay, 3D view. So you see, you can easily make something quite organic. Now, if you want to cut this, you want to cut stuff away from this, you want to make it curve. Okay, so now you're going to go to ground floor. Now I'm going to create another spline quickly. Spline. This has to be a closed loop, okay. Just do that for now. I'm going to create a bit of line work over here, just from there. This is strange what I'm doing. It'll make sense now. Okay, go to 3D view. Now, this bit of line work, we're going to select this and we're going to make this an extrusion. What this becomes is, this becomes your create. Yes, that's good. Now you change this from a solid to a void, because this is actually a solid. So select this object over here, select this object. Now you're going to make this a void. So in project properties, change this from form to void. So from solid to void. Now you'll see it will cut away from the face of this. It'll make it an organic. You can cut tunnels through this. Now when you're finished, yes, it gives you this form. But all that you do now is that you convert this. I would make this a roof. So I'll go to architecture, roof, roof by face. Click this face. So create roof by face. So select the face. Oh, that shouldn't be glazing. It should be sheet. Yeah. Select multiple. No, why does I want to select the face? I might have to make this a wall. So let's make this a wall. The architecture wall. Here you're going to say by face. Select the face. Now this you make timber. You go and say edit type. Duplicate. 50 timber. Okay, now you just go here and you change this to 50. Here you're going to change this to finish 1.4, and here you're going to change this to timber. But I'll tell you what I'll do is I'm going to spend some time. It's supposed to, you can draw this multiple shapes. It'll make that curve. There's something that's gone a bit awry there. We don't do this that much in practice. We don't make these types of shapes often. So, but I should be able to. There's my. It's pretty cool, hey?
Yeah, I'm glad it makes sense. I think I can do it.
Yeah, and what's neat is it'll join with this wall. So if you tell this to join with this wall over here, if I tell this to join with that wall there, guess what? It will join.